Yo, yo. What's going on, everyone? Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Welcome in, everyone. Hopefully, everyone's having a good day. Real quick before we start, actually, I'll wait for more people to get in before we talk about it. Yo. Yeah, so that snow game is something that I'm still kind of trying to figure out about the exact weather because what I can see right now is that it's going to snow for the whole game. Says the snow showers likely before 9 p.m. The snow between 9 p.m. and 2 p.m. or 2 a.m. Then snow showers likely, cloudy, uh, with a low of around 20. Southwest wind 5 to 12 miles an hour. Chance of precipitation 90%. New snow acclimation 3 to 5 inches possible. So it's like you read one thing, it tells you it's going to snow a lot. You read another thing, it tells you it's not going to snow a lot. Kind of just a situation that if I'm being completely honest with you guys, like if you have other options, like I would just try to be avoiding it. I would try not to have to play Debo Samuel. I would try not to have to play um Juwan Jennings. Now, could they have big games? Of course, right? Players have played great in the snow before. The snow doesn't mean that everyone's just going to magically forget how to play football. So understand that. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. There's something to me that's just so nerve wracking about when it's going to snow potentially that much. So for me, I'm kind of just staying away from those guys. That's kind of just a general assessment. Now, again, I could be wrong. Again, I'm not a weatherman. It could not snow at all. It could barely snow. The snow could play very little impact on the game, and that's just how it goes. So kind of just depends how the weather ends up playing out. But again, we're kind of far in advance of that, so it makes it really difficult. Makes it really, really difficult. Steven, thank you for the super chat, my man. I really appreciate you. PPR, Taysom Hill or Goddard, Garrett Wilson or McLaurin, Pollard or Brian Robinson. Great question. For me, I would play Taysom Hill over Goddard. I believe that Goddard is relatively safer this week because it seems like Devontae Smith is going to be out. But when push comes to shove, I do understand why you would be a little bit nervous about playing Taysom Hill, right? Taysom Hill is one of the most risky tight ends in all of fantasy football. But ultimately, I think I would have to lean with playing Taysom Hill. I think that's the smart move. And then Garrett Wilson or Terry McLaurin for me, that is easily going to be Terry McLaurin because I just think playing Garrett Wilson, there's just so much risk with it. Now, he could obviously have a big game, right? The matchup against Seattle is pretty solid. So I don't think this is going to be his worst game out there. I understand that the Tennessee defense is pretty good as well. But typically, even when Jaden Daniels hasn't been playing the best outside that game up against the Eagles, we had actually seen Terry McLaurin play quite well. So I think I'm going to stay with Terry McLaurin. And then Pollard versus Brian Robinson's a tough one. I love Tony Pollard. I loved him last year. I faded him this year. I think he's an excellent running back. I kind of just was nervous to play him or to draft him this year because of the fact that Tajay Spears was there, right? And I thought that, maybe Tajay Spears would outsnap him. Maybe Tajay Spears would be the guy. So I'm just trying to find the report because I did read something about Tajay Spears earlier. He's going to play, so that does hurt Tony Pollard. I have Brian Robinson. I'm trying to find him in my rankings. Brian Robinson Jr. So for me, I would lean ever so slightly with Brian Robinson over Tony Pollard. Not by like this crazy wide margin. And honestly, the more I think about it, I think I'm going to go Tony Pollard. So I lied. I lied straight to you. We're going Tony Pollard. I would go Tony Pollard or Brian Robinson. It's basically a 50-50, but I would lean with Tony Pollard. I just like the matchup better for Tony Pollard. The rankings are being updated as we speak onto Patreon. So anyone that's Patreon, you'll get those in a couple of minutes. Man, oh man. Man, oh man. My quarterback ranks Hurts, Lamar, Allen. Yeah, make sure you guys check out Spock's rankings. Slightly different than mine, which is okay. Oh man, my phone's blowing up. Start 3, Taylor, Henry, Bucky, Chuba. I would be playing Taylor, Henry, and Bucky, personally. Yo, what's up, Brady? What's going on, man? Yo, what's up, everyone? What's up, everyone? Pitts or Disley? I would be playing Disley. Would you start Shakir or Judy? I would be playing Shakir. Again, the question is, how much is the snow going to affect the game? You could 100% just play Judy because he's safer. And again, this is kind of just a thought process for all of you guys. Do you want to keep the safe? Do you want to play the safe player or do you want to play the more risky player? Obviously, playing in the snow provides more risk than not playing in the snow. So it's kind of up to you there, in my opinion. Happy Sunday, Nick. What's going on, Ralph? How you doing, man? Doing all right. Doing all right. Hope you guys are all doing well. Vikings or Bills? I'd lean with the Bills. Happy Sunday, Caitlin. Washington defense or Steelers defense? I would go with Washington. What's up? At Captain Spock, what's up? Nick, Darnold or Kyler or Darnold or Nix? I would go Kyler and Nix. What up? What up? Fryermuth or Fant? I'd go Fryermuth. Jalen Warren or Justice Hill? I would play Jalen Warren. I just feel like on a week in, week out standpoint, he's more likely to get more touches. So that's just how I feel. That's just how I feel. Ooh, that's just how I feel. Hopefully everyone is feeling good today. Having a good one. What's up? What's up? What's up with it? What's up, Brian French? How you doing, man? Thank you for the super chat, Walter. I really appreciate you. Walter John McGowan. Thank you very much for the super chat. Shout out the Notorious. Love your work, my guy. Thank you very much. So who would you play this week between Disley and Ingram? That's a great question. So the thing about Evan Ingram is kind of like, how do we believe that Trevor Lawrence will perform? Like, do we think Trevor Lawrence will be better than what he was previously? Do we think Trevor Lawrence will be the same? How does that kind of throw a wrench into things? It's very interesting because Evan Ingram, in my opinion, like I know he had a couple of down years, but to me, he is one of the more talented tight ends at the NFL level. Now, I understand there have been down years for Evan Ingram. I understand Evan Ingram hasn't always been great. He's struggled with drops, this, that, and the other thing. But I do genuinely believe that in terms of just skill set, he's very talented once he can catch the ball, right? He's a guy that has had trouble catching the ball, right? That was his biggest issue, was that he just couldn't wrap his fingers around the goddamn ball. But as of recently, he has kind of shot that in the butt there. Now, um, let me just Google one more time on Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence, just to make sure 100%. Trevor Lawrence is active today. So for me, I do have them ranked closely off the top of my head. I'm going to check the rankings. Yeah, I have Evan Ingram ranked 9. Oh, no, never mind. They're not really that close to my rankings. I have Disley ranked 17th. So I would go with Evan Ingram. I like Disley a lot. And that's the funny thing about the tight end rankings is because you kind of have that bundle of guys at the top, right? The Brock Bowers, the Travis Kelsey, the Trey McBride, the Hawkinson, the guys that you feel very confident in. And then after that, it's kind of just like a crapshoot, right? You got the K-Dot and the Janu who you like. You got Kittle. And then after that, it's kind of like you're just throwing yourself into the flame right there, right? It's like, oh, Pitts, Goddard, Henry, Sam Laporta, all those kind of guys. And that's kind of the range Disley is in. I do feel a little bit more comfortable playing Evan Ingram. I just believe that with Trevor Lawrence under center, there's just a lot of safety with Evan Ingram. And even if he does end up like shit in the bed, you at least won't feel as bad about it. Because if you start Will Disley, like I know he's been running pretty hot, but when a guy like Will Disley, who in my opinion isn't like the best tight end ever, right? I don't think Will Disley is like the most talented guy on earth. One of these games is going to be the game where he ends up having like a really down one. And people are going to be very surprised because they've been riding with him for a couple of weeks. And again, that's not to say that Will Disley is guaranteed to be a bust this week. It's just kind of my opinion on things. So yeah, I would go with Evan Ingram over Disley. Thank you very much for the super chat. And again, we're just going to hope Trevor Lawrence is just better than Mac Jones. And even though Trevor Lawrence probably isn't 100% healthy and he's playing through that shoulder injury, I do think even a banged up version of him is better than what you would get out of Mac Jones. So thank you very much for the super chat. I greatly appreciate you. So I would definitely go ahead and play Evan Ingram, and I appreciate the support. It means a lot to me. Thank you guys all for your support recently. It means the world to me. Good morning, everyone. Nick, thank you for the super chat. Nick Peppinger says Mooney, Jennings, or Cooper half PPR my goat. Thank you, no problem. So for me, in a lot of these questions, we're trying to just avoid that game on Sunday night. Now, again, this could end up being a very bad decision, right? The game could end up being a shootout, right? I'm not saying that it's guaranteed to be this terrible game that you don't even want to watch. You're like, wow, why did I even throw this game on? But ultimately, for me, I don't think that you really want to be super heavy into a game where it could potentially snow a shit ton like that. Now, again, the snow typically, a lot of people panic. It's like, oh, it's snowing a little bit, and people get all up in arms. Oh, it's snowing too much. I can't play these guys. But in this scenario, it actually kind of is going to potentially snow too much to where it would actually scare me. There's a lot of wind. So in my opinion, I would just go ahead and play Darnell Mooney. Now, Darnell Mooney did in his most recent game play pretty bad, but he did get hurt. Prior to that, I believe he was a top 24 receiver in 3 straight games. So I think there are brighter days ahead for him. And thus, I would be playing Darnell Mooney. I love Darnell Mooney this week. Now, I don't have him ranked super high because, again, I do think the smart move when a guy's coming back from an injury is not to get super duper optimistic and rank him as like, oh, he's this clear top 20 receiver. But this week, I would be pretty confident in at least a wide receiver 3/flex ish finish. And I can't say the same about Jennings or Cooper. So for that reason, that's kind of the way we're going to be sliding there. So I would go ahead and play Darnell Mooney over those guys. Thank you for the super chat. Um, Rut Nips, thank you for the super chat. Started Janu for the tight end. Love that. Adams or Taysom in the flex. Thanks. Yeah, so this is kind of just one of those questions where it's really just up to you, in my opinion. Now I'm going to give you my answer, but it's really just about risk tolerance, right? In your opinion, do you believe you're going to win? If you believe you're going to win, you just play Devontae Adams. Why? Because Devontae Adams is going to go out there and he's going to get let's say let's think. Devontae Adams is probably going to get 10 points, right? Now, I'm not going to guarantee that he scores over 10 points, but he's probably going to score 10 points, right? Even through the ups and the downs of his play, he's always been pretty good at doing that. So I would probably just go ahead and the uh play the guy. Oh, what did I just say? I'm sorry, I'm just doing something on my phone. So what I meant to say here is basically you play Taysom Hill if you want to score 25 plus points, right? If you feel like you're going to lose, you feel like you're down for the count, you feel like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to win this game. I need that big boost to upside. Then you would go ahead and play Taysom Hill. Now, for instance, if you just are like, oh, I need 10 points, you play Adams. If it's my team, something just tells me that the fact that the Jets look so bad and they're coming out the bye and everyone's done with the Jets, me included, that Adams is just going to go fucking bananas. Adams is going to put up like this all-time game. So if it's me, I would be playing Devontae Adams. Thank you for the super chat. Jennings, Ridley, or Marv PPR? Great question there. So for me, again, Ridley is just kind of not Ridley. Jennings is just kind of out of the equation. Again, Jennings can perform in the snow. I'm not saying he's guaranteed to bust. He's guaranteed to fail. If you start these guys, you're a fucking idiot. You have no idea how to play fantasy football. This, that, and the other thing. I am not saying that. But what I am saying is there's a decent amount of risk in doing so. So for me, Ridley's been pretty reliable as of recently, and he's got a solid spot against the Commanders. Marv has a good matchup as well up against the Vikings. Now, today, the coach came out and said Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to get fed this, that, and the other thing. Do we believe he's lying? Do we believe he's telling the truth? What do we believe? It's kind of up in the air, right? I don't believe every single thing the coaches say. I don't think you should believe every single thing the coaches say. So, personally, if it's my team, I would be playing Calvin Ridley. Do I play Jennings if Purdy plays or Shakir? I think both guys are risk again because of the snow. I don't think either of those guys are guys that I'm shoving into my lineup with supreme confidence With me, though, I do think that Shakir's kind of just this safer bet because I think Shakir is going to be getting a lot of underneath work in this game. Shakir's not relying on Josh Allen to throw a fucking piss missile 30 yards down the field for him to have like a big game. He could just keep getting a lot of underneath stuff. And remember, these other wide receivers on the team are banged up. They're coming off of injuries. So for me, it would be pretty much a no-brainer to just go ahead and say the answer would be Shakir. I just feel a little bit more confident in Shakir. And it's also already came out that Purdy is not 100%. That Brock Purdy is not feeling 100% right now. He's not going to be 100% in the game. So I think playing Purdy, stacking up with Purdy really isn't the best. So I'd rather play Shakir. Hope you guys are all doing well, man. I shine Purdy or Anthony Richardson, 12, 1.5 point PPR, 12-man league. Great question there. Personally, if it's my team, I'm going to go ahead and play Anthony Richardson. Again, when they come out and say the guy isn't 100%, when they come out and kind of speak negatively on him, that doesn't give me the most amount of confidence that he's going to go out there and ball out, right? When the report is, hey, this guy isn't 100%, typically that means you're not going to get the best game out of him. Now, again, is it possible that he goes out there, lets his nuts hang, has a huge game? 100%. I think he could easily have a huge game, but in my opinion, I think playing playing uh playing playing Anthony Richardson's the smart move. Again, playing Anthony Richardson, I guess technically is never a smart move, right? There's always risk inherently with a guy like Anthony Richardson. I don't think anyone is sitting there right now like, oh man, I can't wait to play Anthony Richardson, right? I don't think anyone's thinking that. But I do think Anthony Richardson's the safest bet out of the two. Again, with the snow coming off the injury, just not the best. Brees or Sutton need upside right now. Projected to go the lowest amount of points in my guillotine league. I gotcha. Both of those guys have crazy upside, right? Brees Hall in any given game could score 30 points. And while this might have sounded insane a couple of months ago, so can Cortland Sutton. Cortland Sutton also has that super duper high upside. So I would personally be going with, that's so tough. That's so tough because if you start the wrong one, you're not going to be able to sleep for a week. So Sutton, looking at his most recent finishes, wide receiver 2, 26.66, scored 30 points last week. He's got a good matchup this week, in my opinion. And then we got Brees, who's been so up and down. Running back 3, 18, 29, 32, 6. Now, the upside is there for both of them, obviously. So I'm not going to pretend like they don't all have a lot of upside. But personally, I would be going with Cortland Sutton. I would be going with Cortland Sutton. Personally, again, that's a really close question, but I would be going with Cortland Sutton, personally. Hey, Sal, thank you for the super chat, man. I really appreciate that. If that's the real Sal, that's pretty funny. Thank you, Sal. I really appreciate you. That means a lot to me. Hope you're having a good one, too. I love watching the vlogs that you're in, the Flock League vlogs. That shit is so funny. So thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. Thank you again. It's crazy when people that make content show up in my stream, right? Isn't that crazy? Thank you again, Sal. I really appreciate it. Hope you have a great Sunday, too. Oh, man. That's crazy. Thank you, Sal. Need a flex, Najee Harris. Oh, and again, Reggie, I'm going with Sutton personally. Again, it's pretty close. Like, I don't think either guy has like a strong up over the other. They both have this pretty similar upside, and Sutton is just 9,000 times safer, in my opinion. So I would be going with Cortland Sutton if it's my team. Next question here. Big Mike, thank you for the super chat. Need a flex. Thank you very much. Harris, Brian, Thomas, Devontae, Adams, Shakir, Rashad, White. Great question. Honestly, based upon how Rashad White has been playing, I know I don't have him ranked the highest because I don't think anyone really loves Rashad White at this point in the season, right? Because Bucky Irving has kind of taken over. Bucky Irving's more of the sexy name. He's just been playing better, right? Um, when push comes to shove, Bucky Irving has been the better player. But I don't think that means you can't play Rashad White, right? Rashad White's been very reliable over the stretch as well. I like Najee Harris's matchup, but the fact that Jalen Warren is really cutting into his workload really, really makes me nervous. Not that I think that Najee Harris is like guaranteed to be a bust of large magnitude, right? He's going to have this awful game and you're going to be crying yourself to sleep if you started him. But personally, I would go with Rashad White. Thank you for the super chat. A word only. Thank you for the super chat. PPR, quarterback, and flex. Bo, Baker, Otten, Hawk, and Adams. Great question. So for the quarterback, that's a really, really, really close question. Oh, fuck. I just pressed the wrong button. That's a really close question for me. NFL. Okay. For me, I like the fact that Evans is back for Baker. But I also love how hot Bo Nix has played. But going up against the Panthers, man, I know Patrick Mahomes shit the bed up against the Panthers last time out. I know. But I'm definitely going to go with Baker. I just think Baker's going to have a big game today. I've been on the Baker bandwagon in the summer. I've been on the Baker bandwagon for a while now. So I'm going to keep banging the drum for Baker Mayfield, and especially Evans another week more healthy. I just think that's going to lead to a big game out of Baker Mayfield. So I'd go Baker over Bo, but it's close. And then Otten, Hawk, or Adams. That's another question that is very, very tough because I like all of the options. Personally, though, I would go with Otten. Otten's ran so hot. You're going to stack Baker and Otten together. I think that's the smartest move. So thank you for the super chat. We're going to go Baker and Otten. Ryaz, thank you for the super chat, my man. I appreciate you. Non-PPR, Adams, Pittman, or Shakir. Love the show. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate you as well. Yeah, you like the cats back there, Caitlin? They're chilling. They chilling out. So Adams, Pittman, or Shakir. Basically, here, what you're looking at is in non PPR to me, the question basically always just comes down to who do I believe is going to score the touchdown? Pittman's been hurt. Now Josh Downs is out, but Pittman just hasn't looked great as of recently. Like, I don't think there's really much of an argument to be made that Pittman is like this super duper elite player. At this point, like Josh Downs is pretty clearly better than him. So I do think that, oh man, that's a tough one. I would just go Adams. I think Adams is most likely to score a touchdown. Now, again, the Jets have been ice cold. The Jets have been a offense that has, like, again, I get they looked technically good up against the Colts, but this is an offense that I don't think a single person is sitting there thinking, wow, I cannot wait to play Devontae Adams. Oh, I can't wait to play Garrett Wilson. Oh, I can't wait to play Breece Hall, because the offense just has looked very inept. But I do think they end up figuring things out sooner rather than later. And while I think that Adams is done as a Jet, I do think, or not Adams done as a Jet, I think Rodgers definitely done as a Jet. I do believe that Adams ends up scoring. So he'd be the guy that I lean with. Thank you. Thank you, Sal. I appreciate that. Like the WWE belt. Yeah, I didn't watch the Survivor Series last night. I got to rewatch it probably tomorrow night. That was crazy. I did see a bunch of clips though. Saw a bunch of clips of it. Pickens or Higgins? Thanks for the help, G. No problem. That's a close one. Higgins has been playing really, really, really well, man, when he has been healthy. The difference between Pickens and Higgins, though, is like Pickens is the wide receiver one in Pittsburgh. Pickens has been kind of hot and cold, which does suck, right? Whenever you get a guy that you think should be uber consistent every single week, but instead he ends up kind of not being that, right? Because you would think Russell Wilson would really mold Pickens into this super safe asset. Now, Pickens should have scored a touchdown last week. I think anyone with a brain realized that he just kind of got missed. And that's kind of what happens, right? Sometimes guys miss. Personally, I have George Pickens ranked as my wide receiver number 13. I have T. Higgins ranked as my wide receiver 18. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers defense kind of gets they're not a fraudulent defense, right? Because like as a Dolphins fan, right, any day of the week, I would transfer the Steelers defense onto the Dolphins, right? I would do that anytime. Now I love a lot of the guys on the Dolphins defense, but ultimately the Dolphins defense is just soft. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about the Steelers versus the Bengals. The Steelers defense is a little bit overrated in terms of pass coverage, at least in my opinion. Again, you can find stats that people love for anything, right? When you make content, something you'll realize is that there's a lot of stats you can pull from that are a little fugazi, but they make your statement look correct, right? So that's kind of one of the things you can do with both of those guys. But for me, it's got to be Pickens, man. The Bengals defense is barbecue chicken alert. The Bengals defense is straight up trash. And I get that the Pittsburgh Steelers are by far and away not a great team. I think they're a great team. I just don't think they're a great offense, but I don't think it's going to end up mattering in this game. And I do believe that we could end up seeing Pickens go hog wild. So in my opinion, I would be going with Pickens. XO, thank you for the super chat. Sup. Pittman, Addison, or Judy must win. Must win matchup for you. That's a great question. So for me, um, it's between either Judy or Addison. Now, again, it's all here up to your risk tolerance. Like that's the kind of a question is a risk tolerance question. In my opinion, my team, I personally right now, if I'm looking at the rankings, I have Jordan Addison is my wide receiver 36, Jerry Judy is my wide receiver 34. Now, when push comes to shove, Addison could be the wide receiver 1, the wide receiver 2, the wide receiver 3. Like he could be a top 3 receiver, he could be a top 5 wide receiver, but Addison could also end up being the wide receiver 45, the wide receiver 50, the wide receiver. Like he could easily, completely, and utterly shit the bed, right? So that's kind of the difference between the two. Now I have Judy ranked higher, so I would go with Judy. Without Tillman, Jerry Judy should be in for a relatively safe game. Jerry Judy's been playing well. The upside is definitely there with him. I think he's the most talented wide receiver out of that core that they have right now without Tillman. I do think Tillman's better than him. But based on where we're sitting right now, I think it would make the most amount of sense to play Jerry Judy. I also don't think Patrick Surtain would just completely shadow Judy. Maybe you believe that, but I don't think that. I think that's highly unlikely. So I would go ahead and play Addison. Or I would go ahead and play Judy, even though I love Addison. Judy would be my answer there. I would be going with Jerry Judy. Justin, thank you for the super chat with your. Is that Aang? I keep forgetting the name. The Last Airbender. I used to watch that show a ton as a kid. Shout out to Aang. Appa Yip Yip. I literally loved that show when I was young. Watched that shit all the time. Loved it. All right. All right. 1 PPR, Amari, Nick Westbrook, Ikain, MVS, half PPR needs ceiling, London or Higgins. Great question. Full PPR, I would go. Dude, I don't want to play Amari Cooper. I do not want to play Amari Cooper. I do not want to play Amari Cooper, man. I don't know what it is about Amari Cooper. I know what it is. It's the fact that he's banged up. He's coming off an injury, and it's the snow. So I don't want to play him. Your safe bet would be Nick Westbrook, Ikain. The high upside bet is MVS. I have Nick Westbrook ranked 1 spot ahead of MVS. I would personally play Nick Westbrook, Ikain. And then London or Higgins. You need the ceiling. I think the higher ceiling is London. So I would go with London up against the Chargers. So we're going to London and Nick Westbrook, Ikain. Thank you for the super chat. Caleb, Adams, Edwards, Disley. Do you need two players there? Do you need one player? Is that the question there? Is that the question there we're looking at? Caleb. Yeah, Caleb, give me some further notes here. What else we need to be looking at here? Is it just one out of the three? If it's just one, I'm going to play Adams. It's going to be Adams 100%. I think Adams is kind of just prone for a bounce back game coming his way eventually. Who knows if it'll actually be today? Who knows or not? But I do think eventually one of these days is going to be the day where Adams goes out there, hangs his nuts in the mouth of the defense, and just goes straight up ballistic and is the best option out there. So I would be going Adams personally if it's just one out of the three. If you need two out of the three, I'm going Adams and Edwards. Chow Zhang, thank you for the super chat. CMC, K9, Chase Brown, start two. I don't think you can sit McCaffrey. Even in the snow, I think McCaffrey is going to be just fine. Like, I don't think the elements don't affect the running backs as much. Now, obviously, it was kind of the case with Najee Harris. Najee Harris looked like he was running in fucking quicksand out there. Najee Harris looked incredibly slow. I don't think that will as much be the case here with Christian McCaffrey. Now, again, the fact that Purdy's back does give me more confidence. I think there's going to be a lot of checkdowns for Christian McCaffrey, and that should be able to lead Christian McCaffrey to having a halfway decent game. And again, Chase Brown has been so red hot. I think fading Chase Brown would be silly. Eddie J. Hey, Nick, B-Rob or Rashad White in standard? Thanks. So in standard, it's really just all about who I believe is going to get the touchdown. The fact that Rashad White catches a decent amount of balls doesn't matter as much. Now, obviously, you still get the yards, but it doesn't matter as much. In my head, I would be leaning with Rashad White just because I think he is the most likely out of those two backs to end up falling ass backwards into the end zone and getting a touchdown. So, in my opinion, that is kind of the way that I would lean there would be with Rashad White, just because I think he's the most likely to score that touchdown. So I'm going Rashad White. Bear down, boys. What's going on? I appreciate the super chat. JSN or T. Higgins, full PPR. I don't think you can sit JSN. Now, obviously, pick one. Okay, if it's one, it's Adams. If it's one, it's Devontae Adams. 100% Devontae Adams. I just feel the most confident in him out of that group. JSN or T. Higgins, full PPR. It's got to be JSN, man. When a guy runs as hot as Jackson Smith-Njigba has ran, I don't think there is much of an argument that I can make that tells you, hey, you shouldn't have this guy in your lineup ranked severely high. Now, obviously, maybe the Jets defense coming out the bye, they figure it out, right? They become this lockdown defense that they were a couple of years ago. They become this unstoppable front that, or I guess front would not be the way of saying it, right? But they become this unstoppable cornerback duo, Reed and Sauce, and it's back to what it was looking like a couple years ago. But honestly, do I think that's what's going to end up happening? No, I don't. I think what actually ends up happening is that JSN is going to be able to go hog wild yet again. In fantasy football, the way I think about things a lot is if a guy is as on fire as Jackson Smith-Njigba, if a guy is playing as well as Jackson Smith-Njigba, why would I sit him? Right? When someone's running as hot as he is, you got to play him. So it's JSN. Purdy or Murray, Devontae Adams or Marvin Harrison. I feel like Marvin will boom and would go with Brock, but with the injury and the snow and all, I'm not sure. Yeah, no, I get that. I agree with that sentiment about the snow. Now, again, the snow is and rain and all that is kind of one of the more interesting topics in fantasy football because, again, every time it rains a little bit, every time it snows a little bit, people begin to panic. They begin to get incredibly nervous. And they're like, oh, I don't know. Should I even play this guy, blah, 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 blah. And they kind of overthink everything. But I think that it is a little bit different here, right? I think this is a little bit of a different situation where I think the snow will actually play an impact. So I'd rather go Kyler. And then because you're playing Kyler, I think you just have to play Marvin Harrison Jr. because of the stack aspect. Now, obviously, that could end up screwing the pooch for you, right? And this could end up not being the best game ever, right? And Kyler shits the bed, and so does Marvin Harrison Jr. But you have both of them. I think the smart move would just to play both. And again, they did come out and say they want to get Marvin Harrison Jr. a lot more involved. So that would kind of be my lean there. I would go ahead and play Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. That is my lean there. Marvin Harrison Jr. and Kyler. What's up, chat? Half PPR start 2. I'm playing Otten and Mooney. Yo, fellas, Burrow at home against Pitt or Stafford in the Dome. I'm going Burrow. Fellow Dolphins fan here. What's up, man? Knicks or Josh Allen? I'm playing Knicks. Fins up. Fins up. I am so disappointed with this season. I'm not going to rant about it because you guys want your questions answered. So I will hold off on just being depressed about how the Dolphins performed against the Packers. I thought they would play better. It's just everything that the narratives about the Dolphins are just straight up correct. They can't play in the cold. They're a soft team. That's just how it is, man. And until either a head coach is fired or until Chris Greer is fired, I don't see it ever changing. Now, the funny thing is the Dolphins will probably win every single game for the rest of the season. And that loss to the Packers will be the Achilles heel and why we don't win a playoff game, but or make it to the playoffs. But that's just how it goes, man. White or Pollard? I would go with White. What's up, Kelly? How you doing? Chuba or Mooney? I would go Chuba. And Texans or Colts defense? I'm going to check the defense question with my rankings. Going to consult the rankings. Shout out to all 142 of you guys that are here. Please hit that like button. That's fucking insane, dude. It's week 13 and there's this many people watching. I love you guys so much. Thank you. Thank you. It's amazing. Texans or Colts? Texans or Colts? Texans. Oh, yeah, Texans. It's obviously Texans. Texans I've ranked top 5. So it's Texans. So Chuba and Texans. I have Alvin Kamara as my RB1. I wanted to know out of the 3, who do I start? I'm playing Bijan and Chase Brown, personally. Don't trust Garrett Wilson this week. Should I play BTJ or McLaurin? I would play McLaurin, Oliver. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Just making sure I'm not missing any super chats. And I am. What's going on? Burrow or Daniels? Great question. Man, Burrow's been so hot. I don't think you can sit Burrow. So it's going to be Burrow. It's going to be Burrow over Daniels. And then Flowers or MHJ. I would go Flowers. So we're going Burrow and Flowers. Thanks, bud. No problem. Flowers versus MHJ has to be one of the most frustrating lineup decisions that you have probably every single week on your team. Type of lineup decision that'll make you fucking just jam your hair out of your head, right? Because it's basically guaranteed that every week one of those guys is going to smash and the other one is going to completely and utterly shit the bed. And you're probably going to get it wrong most times because it is a true 50-50. I would be playing Flowers just because I think Flowers is in for a big game. He's been kind of cold. So I would go Flowers and Burrow. How about them Dolphins? Yeah, dude, they suck, man. They suck. And I kind of knew that was going to happen. But I don't know. They kind of always sucker me back in by the way that they talk. Like the coach talks like, oh, all that bad stuff that happened in the past. Don't worry, guys. We're changing the narrative. Don't worry, guys. We might be awful in the snow normally, but don't worry. We figured it out. They'll never figure it out. They will never figure it out. And that's the thing about them. But yeah, they stink. We won't talk about them for too long, though. Flowers or JSN? It's got to be JSN, man. Again, JSN has been riding so hot. When a guy is playing as red hot as that, you just got to go ahead and ride the hot streak. So I would be playing JSN over Flowers. And then FZ Ware, thank you for the super chat. Judy, Dell, or Ingram, flex, PPR. I would play Judy. I would be playing Judy. I love Jerry Judy this week. I think Jerry Judy is going to have a pretty decent game. Now, technically, I do have Dell ranked higher than Judy, but I think I feel more comfortable playing Judy. I like Ingram too, but I would go Jerry Judy personally if it's my squad. Stans Krilla, thank you for the super chat. What's up, Legendary One? How you doing, man? Hawkinson or Debo if Purdy suits up? I'm playing Hawkinson. Again, Purdy is not 100%. It's important to note that not only is the weather bad, but Brock Purdy himself has already stated that he is not 100%. So if he's not 100%, and we have the snow, and we have Debo Samuel, who's colder than a fucking snowman, what is going to indicate that Debo is going to go out there and smash? Now, can he smash? Yes. Why? Because he's Debo Samuel, and Debo Samuel has the ability to do that. But ultimately, I would go ahead and play TJ Hawkinson. That's just the way that my brain has me routed here. Hawkinson feels so much safer. And I think Hawkinson's eventually going to rip off a game where he scores like 25 points, even though that hasn't been the case recently. It kind of just feels like eventually that will be the case. So I'm going Hawkinson. Kendrick Shanklin, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. Wilson, McLaurin, McConkey, or Pickens. Pick one. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. That's a tough question because I like basically every single one of those players. I like them all. I like them all. So let's go. Oh, man. So I have Garrett Wilson ranked 21. I have McConkey ranked 16. I have Pickens ranked 13. And I have McLaurin ranked 12. Very close between all of them, honestly. In weeks like this, especially when I don't love every single matchup, those guys are all very high in my mind. My rankings tell me to go with McLaurin, and I will go with McLaurin. McLaurin's been incredibly consistent this season. Terry McLaurin was able to finish as the wide receiver 8, 90, 15, 21, 18, 16, 5 over the last stretch of games. Now that wide receiver 90 game sticks out like a sore thumb, but that was because the Eagles absolutely locked them up and threw away the key. I think McLaurin should be able to have a pretty solid game here up against the Titans. So for me, it would be McLaurin if you can only play one. Joe Castles, thank you for the super chat. Brian Robinson or Ramondre Stevenson or Gus the Bus? Great question. Now, the problem with Ramondre Stevenson is every single week, again, he's just incredibly boomer bust, right? I wouldn't be surprised if Ramondre Stevenson ended this week up against the Colts as the running back 5. I also wouldn't be surprised if he ended the week as the running back 47, right? Because that's just kind of how he's been playing. Now, he's consensus rankings. He's the running back 25. He's my running back 27. Again, the stretch of games since coming back from injury, week 7, 44, 5, 7, 28, 18, 44. He's been very hit or miss. He didn't perform up against a not so good Dolphins run defense last week. It seems like they want to use Gibson more as well. Brian Robinson's coming off of an injury, which doesn't bode the best for him. But I do think Brian Robinson, like, they're playing him for a reason. He's good to go. I would have to think that you see mostly him out there. So for me, it would have to be Brian Robinson. I don't mind playing Gus the Bus, but the thing about Gus is, like, you need multiple touchdowns. Like, he just isn't efficient anymore. When he gets carries, he's not running hot. He kind of runs ice cold. Like, he just runs slow. He looks sluggish. Now, again, if you have to start him, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like, oh, he's guaranteed to have this terrible game, right? And, oh, he can't play well. Like, of course, he can play well, right? No one's saying that he is this shit stain player, right? But all I'm saying is that he hasn't been playing great. So I'm going with Brian Robinson personally. I just feel the safest about that. No problem, Stan Skrilla. What's up, Legendary One? How you doing? Flex 1, Leggett, Roshan, Elijah Moore, Bigsby. I would roll the dice on Elijah Moore. I love Bigsby. I think Bigsby is the most talented running back in this backfield. I talked up Tank Bigsby so heavily last year and then got slapped in the face by the fact that ETN clearly was better than him. And I kind of jumped off the bandwagon. I was like, ah, you know what? We kind of seen 1 year in the NFL. It's pretty clear Bigsby isn't that guy. It seemed like the team just hated Bigsby. But now that we are into this season, it seems like Tank is very clearly the better of the backs there. But the team doesn't really view it that way because he's not the one getting a majority of the touches. He's the one kind of riding the pine. So for me, I would definitely be playing Elijah Moore. I just feel better about Elijah Moore. So that's the way. I like it. I would be playing Elijah Moore based on just recent performances and the fact that Tillman's not playing. Full PPR, Knicks or Josh Allen. So again, it's kind of all about how much do you think the snow will impact things. Now, I bumped Josh Allen down a bunch because of the snow. Now, Josh Allen can also run. And again, the snow might not be as severe as I think it will be. So I think the smartest decision here is since both of these guys play at night, right? Bo Nix plays tomorrow night. Josh Allen plays tonight. The safe thing to do would be to sit there and just wait till tonight. Look at the weather. Throw the game on. See what it looks like, in the pregame. Is it fucking snowing heavily? If it is, then you play Bo Nix. If the reports are now, oh, it's only going to be like an inch or two, then you play Josh Allen. So what I would do is I would just write that down, NPNY 1970, just write down. If you want my answer, gun to the head, I would play Bo Nix because I just think Bo Nix is safer because he's not dealing with any of that snow or anything, so you could just leave him in. But what I would strongly recommend if it was my team would be waiting and saying, hey, tonight, let's look at the weather before the game. Like you can just Google the weather, NFL weather, or you can turn the pregame on and you'll definitely see, oh shit, it is snowing crazy, or oh shit, the weather really doesn't look that bad. I think I should play Josh Allen. So that would be how I would do things. I would leave Bo Nix in, and then if it starts snowing crazy, you play Bo Nix. If not, you play Josh Allen. That's kind of how I would look at things. But if you just want to say, hey, I want to get it all over with, I don't want to have to keep thinking about it, which is a perfectly fine thought process. If that's your thought process, we're just rocking with Bo Nix, and then you don't have to worry about it. That's how I think about it. That is how I think about it. Adani or Aaron Geidel. Fryermuth or Hunter Henry? It's got to be Hunter Henry. Fryermuth so heavily relies on a touchdown to have any ounce of value. It's pretty bad, right? How much he relies on the touchdown. Like he's not getting targets. Like even if you're someone like me who thought that, oh man, he's a really talented, like Fryermuth's a really talented player, which is what I think, right? I think he's a very talented player. I think he's going to continue to get better and better, which I still do believe. He just hasn't really shown it off. So for me, I would rather just lean the way of playing Hunter Henry, who gets more targets, who is a lot more competent on a week in, week out standpoint. So that's the way I would go. That is the way I would go. That's the way. I like it. Yes, I would go Hunter Henry, 100%. Fam first, thank you for the super chat. Knicks or Murray? I would go with Knicks. MHJ, Bucky, Pickens. I would play Bucky and Pickens in full PPR. That's the way I would do it. That is the way I would go. That's the way we're going there. We're to go Knicks. I just feel safer with him over Murray. I feel very safe with Bucky and Pickens over MHJ. So that's where we're going. Michael Castro, thank you for the super chat. Start 2 wide receivers in a flex. JSN, Higgins, London, Otten. I would go with the 3 receivers, JSN, Higgins, and London. Now, again, I think Higgins. I mean, I think Otten's going to have a pretty good game, but I think the smart thing to do would be to just kind of dip, dive, and duck over playing the tight end when you have when you have three receivers that are just that good. So Higgins, Otten, and JSN would be my plays. Higgins, Otten, and JSN. That's what we're doing. Higgins, Otten, and JSN. Nope, I lied. I don't know why I said Otten. Higgins, JSN, and London is the answer. Eric, thank you for the super chat. MHJ, Ramondre Stevenson, or Mooney? Great question. I would probably play. Oh man, see the problem with it just being, yeah, you are crazy, Kyle, for doing that. Without me, like it's hard for me to truly bang the drum for Mooney because of the injury that he's coming off of. It's hard to truly be super ecstatic, but yeah, I would go Marvin Harrison Jr. because that I lean with him. Again, I think Marvin's probably just going to end up having a big game today. I don't think that that's like a sound thought process, right? Like, oh, he's this super safe bet, but something tells me he's just going to go absolutely fucking bananas, and everyone's going to just be shocked about it because it's like, oh, he's been so bad. So I would go ahead and play MHJ. And then JSN, Higgins, B Rob, BTJ, pick 2, full PPR. Thank you, Citrus Blade. I would be playing, you got to play JSN. You just have to. Again, when a player is running as hot as he is, you just got to rock with him. And then I would play, oh man. I would be playing Higgins as well. I love Higgins, man. Higgins has been playing so well when healthy this season. I think Higgins is going to have a pretty big game. So JSN and Higgins for me. Kiop, thank you for the super chat. McCaffrey or Brian Robinson, Taysom Hill or Hawkinson. I would go with Hawkinson over Taysom Hill. Again, Taysom Hill is a super boomer bust player. He could easily score 27 fantasy points. He could score literally 0. Hawkinson's more likely getting you like 8 to 18, right? So he's a lot more safe. And then McCaffrey or Brian Robinson, I would just have to play McCaffrey. Like I just don't think you're going to be able to feel like okay at the end of the day when the games end and you played Brian Robinson over McCaffrey. Even if Brian Robinson was to go out there and outperform McCaffrey, I just don't think you would feel good about it. So I'd play McCaffrey and I'd play Hawkinson. Texans or Washington defense. Texans. Love you a long time. Sucky, $5. Start Devontae Smith. So the most recent report on Devontae Smith is Devontae Smith hamstring pushing to play, could be uphill battle. Now, that basically means he's probably, in my opinion, he probably will play, but I don't trust him. So really, Kyle, depends who else you have and your risk tolerance, because Devontae Smith could easily play and just be out there as a decoy, right? He could be out there doing diddly squat, and you kind of you're like, fuck, I started him. I shouldn't have started him, right? And you're kind of beating yourself up about it. I would probably try to stay away from Devontae Smith this week if I could. If I could. Now, not everyone has the opportunity to do so, but some people could. So I would play Devontae Smith. I mean, I would try to stay away from him personally. Let's get to 100 likes. Facts. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. Trying to convince my friends to start AR over Josh Allen. I mean, I'd probably still play Josh Allen over AR if I'm being honest with you. If I'm keeping it a buck 50, you can't fuck with me. DraftKings has some type of bonus right now for anytime touchdown score, so I think I'm gonna bet someone to score a touchdown so I get the lay back. Let's go Mixon. Yeah, I would play. You're right. And smart and handsome and smell good. Oh, I smell good. Is that your boy's cologne? Hit it. Terry or Jennings full PPR? Dog, you got to go Terry. You 100% have to go Terry. Dude, Jennings feels so risky in the snow. I know not everyone probably feels that way. And rightfully so. You don't have to feel the exact same way I do. But I am not the most confidant in saying that Jennings is guaranteed to have like this big game. So for me, it's gonna be me. Yeah, so for me, it's got to be Terry, man. I just don't want to deal with the fucking snow. I just don't want to deal with it. I don't want to get to tonight being like, oh fuck, I played Terry over, I played Jennings over Terry, and then it's like a heavy snow or even a light snow that could impact the game. So I would try to stay away. Go Lions. Good luck to y'all as well. Spock, I love you. I love Spock too. What a guy. Start one flex Jennings or Shakir. I'd play Jennings. I mean, no, I'd play Shakir, and yes, I do think the snow will slow down the passing potentially. But again, it's all about how much it's snowing. We don't know right now, and the fact that Purdy's questionable with the shoulder does hurt. I have Kyler Murray currently for the playoffs, praying I make it. Should I drop BTJ, Hubbard, or Chubb for Bo Nix or just rock with Murray? I would be fine dropping Chubb for him, but I'd probably just hold on to Murray if I'm being honest. Yeah, I would. I would do that. Yeah, I would drop Chubb for Murray. Cooper or Mooney? I can't decide. Mooney. Murray or Herbert? Herbert. Start three. Williams, De'Aaron Williams. Am I stupid for not knowing who that is? You probably meant Kyron. So Kyron, JSN, Chuba, George Pickens, Mike Evans, JSN, Kyron, and Pickens for me. Do I start Purdy in the snow or Bryce Young? I would still play Purdy. That's gross. Full PPR, one Hawk, B Rob, or Taysom. I would play Hawkinson. I would play Hawkinson. That's a really tough question, but I would play Hawkinson. I don't love that answer because I would love to play B Rob, but again, B Rob's coming off the injury, so I don't want to sit here and just pretend like he's this super duper coddled safe option. So that's the way that I would go. Yeah, I'm going Purdy. I'm going Hawkinson over all those guys. You fuck with Calvin Austin? Not really. I mean, I like Calvin Austin, but I wouldn't try to play him. Goddard or Otten? Otten. Hill or Evans? Evans. Full PPR, two wide receivers and one flex. BTJ is the odd man out there. Yeah, make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you guys leave a like. Help me out a ton. Super flex, Stroud or Darnold? Stroud. You need two. Oh, you need two. Two wide receivers and flex. Pickens, London, and JT. Jennings or Addison? Addison. Full PPR, Murray, Richardson, or Herbert. Pick two. Pittman, BTJ, Gel, McBride, Hawkins. I'm going to answer this really quick because the games are about a lock. Murray, Richardson, or Herbert? Herbert. For the tight end, it's going to be McBride. And for the two, it's going to be BTJ and Pittman. Herbert, I feel the safest with him. Pittman and BTJ feel like the safest out of those two. And then I'd definitely be playing McBride over Hawkinson. So Herbert, Pittman, BTJ, McBride, I shine. Thank you for the super chat. I got AR, but Trevor, LA Rod, Drake, May, and Bryce Young on Ravers. Yeah, I'm playing Anthony Richardson. I'm 100% playing Anthony Richardson. Don't overthink Anthony Richardson. Again, I know he could completely have this shitty game. See you, Brian. He could completely have this shitty game, completely be terrible, but I don't think you want to be playing any of those guys over Anthony Richardson. So that's how I'm going to lean. I'm going to lean with Anthony Richardson there. BTJ or MHJ, MHJ or Jawan, MHJ. You have Evans over JSN. That's not that crazy. Good luck, everyone. Best of luck. Thanks, bro. No problem. Best of luck to everyone today. Hope you guys all have a good one. Thank you for the stream. Good luck, Caitlin. Good luck to everyone. I appreciate everyone stopping by for week 13. I appreciate all the mods helping out. Spock, Tyron, I appreciate everyone that's here. Hope everyone's having a good one. Caitlin, thank you. No problem. Hopefully, everyone that was here had a good time. We'll be back on Thursday with the stream. We'll be back next Sunday with the stream. Really appreciate all you guys. Thank you for everything. And let's eat some W's this week. Shout out Jameis Winston. Have a good one. See you guys on the flippity flop. Peace out.